All this starts at the beginning of the 7-year time gap when Goten and Trunks are first introduced. Goten and Trunks are 7 and 8 respectively, and even in canon had immense strength and potential for kids as is. But this time, they're even stronger. Both are influenced, but not from the same people. Trunks takes up after his father and his father's training partner. Even though Trunks isn't particularly wise or old enough to give advice, he manages to unlock a few things his dad was struggling with for a very long time, giving him tips on improving. Vegeta has managed to unlock Super Saiyan 2 with Trunks' help, along with Trunks, who is still a kid. Vegeta has a very great pride in his son and the fact Trunks is on his path. Goten, on the other hand, didn't really have much to do, and the sparring sessions with Chi-Chi weren't nearly as challenging, so Goten managed to force his brother to train with him. Even though Gohan was busy with school, he squeezed in more and more training until Goten managed to switch him back to his old Saiyan roots. With the switch done, all they did for the most part was train. Gohan taught on the thing that Piccolo did, and that is to survive in the harsh conditions of the wilderness. Goten managed to survive with little to no issue and is more or less ready for the real shit. Meanwhile, Trunks and Vegeta were a good match to train, but nothing came close to Goten and Trunks training. Whenever Chi-Chi let Goten train, Trunks was there in an instant and they went for some of the most intense training sessions ever. They sometimes used the gravity chamber at Capsule Corp and trained their asses off. Since they were more of a match to train, their potential skyrocketed and their base was nearly on par with Vegeta's and pretty much tied with Gohan, which meant that Gohan was impressed and motivated by his younger brother, which managed to start pushing Gohan towards training more like he used to. However, high school came around for Gohan and he has managed to get along with the majority of his class on the first day. He has gone to school before the whole heist thing, so not a single soul even knew who he is and not a single trace of Gohan was known, except Videl. Videl senses something odd about Gohan and decides to interrogate him on her own. She does innocent things to see how he handles, so she trips onto him and he's like a brick wall. Videl is confused on a nerd being so tough, but Gohan is clueless and just thinks of her as a bit of a clumsy girl. That changes though when he sees her battling thugs in a city to protect it. Gohan is interested to see Videl is the one protecting the city, and just like any other Saiyan, is actually aroused to see a woman being so strong. Gohan meets up with Videl after the battle and then they start hitting it off. They start talking in a nearby cafe and eventually get to know each other. Videl mentions how she's a daughter of Mr. Satan, the one who apparently beat Cell, and Gohan is still hiding his very little secret that he has from 7 years back. However, that doesn't really hold the water at all, as Gohan sees Goten flying around the city, looking for his brother. Gohan screams for Goten and Videl now knows what is going on. She knew that Gohan was odd, but she didn't know that he was that odd and that his entire family was basically freaks, and so she started questioning him on how his little brother can fly and everything that is going on regarding his strength. Gohan couldn't really hold back anymore and couldn't really hide anything anymore, so he just got out with the truth. He mentions how him and his brother are basically half-breeds of aliens and humans, and how the power that Goten has displayed in front of her is just the tip of the iceberg. Videl is amazed, however, she still wants one thing, and that is to learn how to fly exactly like Goten, so that she could go to school a lot safer and also to get to the place of battle a lot sooner. Gohan is kind of reluctant, but then Videl chastises him and starts roasting him that everything will go out if he doesn't. Gohan is then forced to train her, and so they start on doing that. The next day after school, Gohan and Videl go on their merry way to go and train up. They decide to train at Gohan's house, however Gohan has his Nimbus Cloud and so tries to get Videl on it. Videl is miraculously good-hearted and so she manages to get on the Nimbus Cloud no problem. They get to Gohan's house and they begin training. Gohan introduces Videl to the whole key stuff, and once Videl got the energy control down, they start on training for the actual flight. The whole thing more or less goes pretty much the same as canon, just without Goten. Goten is basically with Trunks training, while Gohan is training Videl on how to fly. Videl though has one more question left in her sleeves, and that is about the gold hair Goten was displaying while he was flying. Gohan mentions how that is called a Super Saiyan, and that is the trait of the alien DNA he has, and then how it's basically an energy multiplier that allows him to boost his strength to about 50 times of normal. Gohan eventually shows it off, and Videl is amazed. Videl then asks Gohan to join in on a Tenkaichi Budokai, and Gohan is still reluctant on doing that since he basically gave up fighting. He's only training every now and then. However, Videl is still going for it, saying how he has immense power and that is gonna be quite useful considering his family doesn't really have enough money to be sustained. And so, Gohan thinks about it and then joins in on the fun. Gohan then goes with Videl to Capsule Corp to go and find himself a good disguise as to not let anyone know that he's actually Gohan. He puts on simple clothes just like his father, except he has a bandana on both top and on his face, which is nothing unlike the Great Saiyan Man. As the preparations begin, Goku starts calling out from the other world to the real world, asking if he can join the tournament. Gohan is ecstatic to hear his father once again, and Vegeta is too ecstatic hearing his old friend once again. Goten and Trunks also know about Goku, but they still don't know enough about him, as they never met him. Videl is confused, but still rolls with it, at least up until the point she finds out that the dead father is Goku, and she slowly starts remembering Goku, Gohan, and the rest just duking it out against Cell. Either way, the tournament is set, and Goku is coming back for one day. After about a month, Goku arrives and he's all ready to go for a battle. He meets his youngest son Goten and sees his immense power, asking how did he train. Goten just says that he's been training with Trunks and Gohan, but other than that, just plain old and simple fun. Goku is proud of his younger son, and with that out of the way, the preliminaries begin. Since the punching machine has a bit of a congestion, the kid division begins, so now the Z fighters have to watch the kids going at it. However, they're not there for the rest of the competition, they're there for Goten versus Trunks, to see the fruits of their training and to see who will win out of the two of them. After the other kids got severely embarrassed from their performance, Goten and Trunks finally come up and the real battle begins. They start off strong from the very beginning, and the power they're outputting is immense. When it comes to the no Super Saiyan thing, they actually abide by that rule, and so Goten is the one to win the battle, even though Trunks is a bit more powerful than Goten. Vegeta is pissed knowing that Trunks is more powerful than Goten, but that doesn't mean anything as Goku and Vegeta are gonna start fighting in the actual tournament to see who will come out on top. And eventually the real tournament does begin. And after everyone starts getting embarrassed over their performance, there's this one battle that is kind of unwinnable. Piccolo and an unknown entity come into the ring and Piccolo cannot move. Not even a single muscle can be moved from his end, as this mysterious foe is basically towering above him on a psychological level. Piccolo is forced to quit the battle and exit the ring, making Shin the winner. And then everything turns for the worse. The accomplice of the mysterious entity and Gohan enter the ring, and the accomplice asks Gohan about the Super Saiyan transformation, to which Gohan basically has to reply with honesty. That means the Super Saiyan transformation happens right then and there, without any pauses. Gohan goes straight to Super Saiyan 2, and both Yamo and Popovich get down to business. The mysterious entity, now known as Shin, paralyzes Gohan and lets the two suck all the energy out of him with their little harpoon. Then they just dip out of there. Gohan is left powerless. Goku, Vegeta, Goten and Trunks all start going after the two that sucked out Gohan's energy. Piccolo and Krillin also follow. The whole thing goes relatively the same, except the fact that Goten and Trunks are in tow by their own choice. They're following and listening on, happy and scared at the same time for getting into some serious shit. Goku never thought that the situation isn't what he expected, but regardless, he goes with the gang. They get to the ship and Shin gives everyone a warning about the Bora and Babidi. Goten and Trunks are just observing and plotting on how to kill them off. Before long, the entire canon situation unfolds until the Bora and Babidi go into hiding and the Z fighters enter the ship. Vegeta takes care of Pui Pui, and as Goku was about to fight Yakan, Trunks stepped up and went to fight him. Yakan was quite interesting as he absorbed light and used it as energy. However, Trunks was quick to exploit that and used almost all of his might of Super Saiyan 2 to give Yakan a bit too much than he can chew, destroying him. After Yakan got defeated, Gohan opted to battle the Bora, but Goku stopped him, wanting to see what Goten is capable of. Gohan agrees and the Bora prematurely attacks Goten, who easily enters Super Saiyan and evades. Sensing the Bora's power, Goten goes Super Saiyan 2 and attacks the Bora. In his effort to easily get rid of the pest, the Bora spits on Goten to turn him into stone, just like Krillin and Piccolo. Goten is aware of the stone spit, so he channels the aura to his wrists and doesn't let the spit to touch him, knocking the spit right back to the Bora and turning him into stone instead. Goten then stops, as kind-hearted as he is, and goes out of Super Saiyan. However, Vegeta blasts now stone the Bora into dust. Goku asks Vegeta why, and Vegeta says it's just better this way. As Vegeta is attempting to blast his way through the Babidi, Babidi decides to take control before it's too late. Vegeta is now in immense pain as Babidi is trying his best to destroy the goodness in Vegeta's heart. Vegeta is struggling, but the second Shin told Vegeta who's behind it, Vegeta gets furious, starting to blast down the whole ship in his Super Saiyan 2 and killing Babidi off and destroying his little crystal ball. As Vegeta drops down in fatigue, the gang checks upon him, with Trunks getting worried on what's going on. However, the whole thing isn't over yet. Since Vegeta used up all of his energy to kill Babidi, that allowed Buu to escape from his cocoon. Buu is now released and the gang is weirded out on the looks of the menace, but they're not fooled, as Buu's power is something like they have never felt before. Buu, however, only wants to play. He's too occupied with the fact that he has a mind of a child, so when he sees Goten and Trunks, he just wants to play with them, although not in the best way. Goten and Trunks decide that they will indeed play with Buu, so Buu leads them outside to quote-unquote play. The games begin and the two kids and Buu start fighting, and it's clear that Buu is stronger. Goku is concerned, thinking to avail Super Saiyan 3 and fight Buu on his own. But the two children stop the battle. Despite their lack of energy, they tell Buu to wait a bit so that they can have a fair fight. Buu accepts, and so Goten and Trunks play rock paper scissors to see who gets to do it. Trunks won the best of 3, and so Goten is now on the sidelines along with the rest of the gang. Trunks then starts powering up. Goku is intrigued as to if a kid can pull it off. Vegeta is just watching on, tired out and nearly fainting, and the rest watch on in shock as Trunks' power starts doubling. Goku is now certain that Trunks is pulling off what he was debating on doing. Trunks' power spikes, and after one last roar, we see Trunks in the Super Saiyan 3 for the first time. He looks rather off considering the form makes him bigger, but regardless, we now have a powered up Trunks. Buu is happy and initiates the battle with Super Saiyan 3 Trunks. Trunks is now pretty much tied with Buu, but knows this power won't last long, as it's draining his energy way too fast. He silently notifies Goten to get ready in a few, and so Goten too starts holding Ki ready for the transformation. Trunks is battling Buu and he's quite having fun, since he can use that power he attained to a good cause and on such a strong opponent. As Trunks is fighting and giving it his best, he's constantly losing power and is getting weaker and weaker, getting gassed out more and more. Goten realizes that it's about time to switch, and so he transforms as well, impressing Goku and infuriating Vegeta. Trunks is thrown out of Super Saiyan 3 and so gets one shot to the ground. Goten then steps in and he wastes no niceties on Boo now that he knows just how powerful Boo really is. Goten goes for a full power assault in hopes of defeating Boo in a minute, but as he is fighting, he's spending more energy than Trunks, and since he's weaker, the time he has is even less. Goku then smirks at his son's achievement, but knows he will have to step in, so he too flares his ki up to be ready for fight. King Kai is getting angry at Goku, but Goku couldn't care less and goes into his Super Saiyan 3. That genuinely infuriated Vegeta, since his ego doesn't let him accept the fact that Goku has been training his ass off for the past 7 years. Goten does one last push, blasting Boo to hell and back and destroying him. Or so he thought, as Boo regenerated almost instantly. Goten, now having used up all of his power, drops down a form and is back to Super Saiyan 2, but is still trying his best. Boo simply knocks him out too and likely breaking a few of Goten's ribs. Goku screams for Goten as he blindly rushes in on Boo and kicks Boo into a mountain. Knowing of the regeneration ability, he takes precautions and formulates a plan. Boo starts taunting him how he cannot be destroyed, but Goku says that regeneration got old about 7 years ago and knows how to deal with it. He starts preparing a blast, but then gets a better idea. Seeing the two boys and their massive strength, he decides not to throw it and tells Boo to hold on and not to kill anybody, as he will get a real challenge soon and to stay put. Boo likes the idea, given his playful side, and lets the gang go. Goku then drops the base and instant transmissions everyone to the lookout. On the lookout, he tells everyone since he has used Super Saiyan 3, he has also used up a vast majority of his time here on Earth using the form, so he only has time to teach the kids his trump card he learned in the other world. That is, Metamorph Fusion. Goten and Trunks hear about Fusion, but aren't really big fans considering they want to use their own power to defeat Boo. Goku says it's the only way they can win at this point in time, and considering that he has to return back to the other world, they have no other choice. Vegeta, although pissed, smirks at the fact kids don't want to fuse, so that makes him sort of happy. Goten and Trunks are quite pissed off they have to fuse, but roll with it. Once Goku shows them the set of moves, the kids cringe even harder. Even Gohan cringed a bit from the moves. Vegeta called it out as ballerina moves, to which the kids had a great laugh out of. Either way, they begin training the poses, giving half a shit about it. Goku has more time in this case, and Vegeta didn't die, so they can all tutor them as they see fit to make them master fusion. The time came for Goku to go, and he said his goodbyes before disappearing. Shin decided to stay on the lookout to see the kids' progress, since Gohan in this case hasn't gone to train with him. Once Goku was sent back, Piccolo decides that the best and fastest way for them to master fusion is in the time chamber, so he takes the measure of taking the two in there. Once they're in the time chamber, Piccolo tells them how time moves really slow in here and all of that. Goten and Trunks are amazed that something like that exists, but they also have a better idea. During their training, they get a plan to knock Piccolo out and go train on their own, being annoyed by doing the same thing over and over and over again. So, while Piccolo was unaware, Trunks crept up from behind him and smacked him in his Super Saiyan 2, making Piccolo faint. With Piccolo out of their way, they go and train to attain greater power instead of fusing theirs together. By the time Piccolo wakes up, they're long gone and he can't sense where they are, so he starts frantically looking for them. Meanwhile, the Dio is training in their Super Saiyan 3 while periodically thanking Sensu every time they get to the point of exhaustion. As they're losing Sensu beans, the two kids are at a tight spot since they didn't know just how much energy Super Saiyan 3 is taking up. Regardless of that, Goten and Trunks do a bit more training and then heal up, ready to go back. On the way there, they suppress and hide their ki so that Piccolo doesn't know they're going out of the time chamber. Piccolo is still trying to find the two, considering them lost inside the chamber, so he keeps looking. Goten and Trunks get to the gate and eat up before leaving. Piccolo senses that the time chamber ambiance changed to his own mental thought, so he knew that they exited out of the chamber. Outside, Goten and Trunks go for round 2 with Boo, but this time they decide to battle Boo together. They sense Boo and engage in battle. The two are a little bit more powerful due to the instant Zenkai and have more control over their Super Saiyan 3, but that's about it. They can't do much more than last time and are both sent to the ground. Piccolo comes to them and attacks them both for being so stupid, but Goten and Trunks easily evade. Piccolo tells them to fuse and that they just might have a good chance at winning. As much as Goten and Trunks don't want to fuse, they still try it, hoping for it not to work. They do the fusion dance and it works perfect first try. They fuse into Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks and look at themselves, seemingly confused. They see that it's actually not that bad to be fused, it's just not up to their ideals, so they mention that. Piccolo is amazed at the power of the two, but is wondering on their control. Gotenks is quite an experienced fighter and isn't as dumb as in canon, so Gotenks starts gauging Boo for a little bit. Boo is getting annoyed that he can't land a single blow on Gotenks, meanwhile Gotenks is just dodging and toying with Boo. After Gotenks got annoyed after a few minutes, he throws a ki blast and manages to damage Boo big time. However, Boo reforms himself and gets angry, ready to throw a giant ki wave at Gotenks. Gotenks responds by charging a Kamehameha, and with it, they throw their blasts at each other. It comes to a wave struggle, with Gotenks barely struggling against Boo. Gotenks then puts all of his power in it and overtakes Boo big time. Boo is caught in the Kamehameha and is properly disposed of. With Boo now gone, Gotenks is about to make a comment to Piccolo, but ends up defusing. Goten and Trunks laugh the fusion off and they go back to the lookout. Goku calls out from the other world and congratulates the two kids on beating Boo, and the Supreme Kai is more than grateful to them for that same reason. In this case, Goku is still not revived and considers himself not needed to be revived, since he has his son and Vegeta's son to take care of Earth, and even Vegeta. Vegeta is mad he didn't get to fight Goku, but that is all bound to change, cause after about a year since Boo, everyone is just chilling. Goku came by again for a full day and is debating on whether to revive himself or not. Literally everyone is up for it, but they know he can't get revived by Earth's Dragon Balls. So they instant transmission to Namek and ask for their Dragon Balls to revive Goku. The Namekians are happy to accommodate and let them use their Dragon Balls to revive Goku. Porunga is summoned and Goku himself made the wish. With Goku now back, Goku also asks for everyone on the King Kai's planet to get revived as well, and so King Kai and the rest of the goons also get revived. They come back to Earth and Chi-Chi is crying from joy now that her husband is back. At the same time, Goten and Trunks took up training on the world of the Kais and are training with the Z-Sword. Since they're kids, they use their human playful nature to fuck around with the sword and end up breaking it, resulting in the old Kai getting released. The Supreme Kai now knows what was actually going on with the sword and why it was so special. Either way, old Kai opted to unlock the potential of the kids, including Gohan, who was sent there to babysit them. The kids say they don't like free power, as they would like to train on their own and attain that power on their own. However, Gohan didn't have a problem with that, as he said that he would like to have a bit more power in his arsenal to protect his new family and Earth in general. And so, old Kai went ahead and started unlocking Gohan's potential, with Goten and Trunks cringing at the visuals of the process. While all that was happening, Beerus awoke and had a dream about something he cannot remember. Whis asks him about the whole sleep to get him to remember, but it's too difficult for Beerus to remember. Setting that aside, he goes and does his destroyer duties as of now. Back to Gohan getting his potential unlocked, the old Kai has to unlock a whole lot, so it takes a long time. In that time, Kibito teleports the kids home as they don't have anything better to do, nor do they want to see the cringe ritual to get Gohan's power out. Either way, they continue the training back home in a gravity machine, still honing Super Saiyan 3 and getting stronger. Chi-Chi is mad that Goten is constantly training and calls it out on his father for being exactly like that and forcing Trunks to train with him. Goku knows what his son is thinking, so he just shrugs it off. After a few excursions, Beerus still has no idea what he dreamt about, and the only thing he remembered is a silhouette of someone or something. Whis may be able to help with that, suggesting to talk to the Oracle Fish and ask him about the whole thing. Beerus agrees and they come back and ask the Oracle. Despite Oracle's bad memory, he finds out of the Super Saiyan God and his prophecy. Beerus now recalls it all and asks about the Saiyans, and so Whis checks his staff and sees that a few Saiyans made remarkable progress, almost all of which are from the same family tree. He mentions that the one called Goku killed Frieza, one of his sons defeated some menace called Cell a few years back, and his youngest son combined into a fusion with Vegeta's son who defeated Majin Buu just recently. Beerus is astonished at the fact that the Saiyans defeated both Frieza and Buu and is quite interested in them, wondering if Goku is that Super Saiyan God, considering his offsprings are also immensely strong. Nothing compared to him, but are plenty strong. He wishes to visit the closest one of the three. Whis mentions that one is getting his potential unlocked by the old Kai. Beerus is disappointed to know one even broke the Z-Sword, but they still go. In the realm of the Kais, Gohan is nearly done with the mystic ritual. Old Kai senses something bad going on and checks his crystal ball. Turns out that Beerus is awake and alert, going straight towards them. He can only hope he finishes in time, so he tells Shin to go and stall Beerus for him. To which Shin is very scared to do, but he cannot defy the words of his elder. Before long, Beerus arrives and the old Kai just finishes the ritual and tells Gohan not to try anything yet, as Beerus is much more powerful than him in every regard. Gohan listens and goes to meet Beerus. He's acting all formal, but Beerus isn't and cutting straight to the chase. He asks about the Super Saiyan God, and of course Gohan doesn't know anything about it. Beerus is annoyed, so he decides that Gohan is of no use and that he will just visit Earth where the rest of the Saiyans are. That gets Gohan very worried, as well as the rest of the Kais. Beerus leaves with Whis, and Gohan wants to get to Earth before Beerus does to warn them all, so he asks Shin to Kai him there and get him there, and fast. Shin does so, and once on Earth, they see it's not just chilling, but they ended up on Bulma's ship, where she's hosting a massive birthday party. Gohan and Shin run up to Goku and Vegeta, saying that Beerus the Destroyer has headed their way towards Earth. Goku and Vegeta don't give a single shit, but still ask what he is. Shin elaborates Beerus is his polar opposite, and compared to him, he destroys instead of creates, and has unfathomable power even by their standards, and knows for a fact that he's going to Earth, so treat him with utmost respect. Gohan remembers to talk about the Super Saiyan God and asks if they know something about him, as Beerus is looking for him. Neither of the Saiyans know anything about a Super Saiyan God, but then get an idea to just call for him with the Dragon Balls so that they satisfy the Destroyer. In no time, Beerus arrives, and now Gohan and Shin are scared shitless. Beerus sees the rest of the Saiyan infestation that managed to survive, and he specifically gazes upon Goku, slowly floating towards him. Beerus looks at Goku, seeing what's so special about him and trying to determine whether he is a Super Saiyan God. He cannot sense God Ki from him, so that weirds him out. He asks Goku whether he's the Super Saiyan God just in case. Goku is clueless as to what it means, and that no, he's not a Super Saiyan God. That annoys Beerus, as Beerus tells Goku to find a Super Saiyan God. Goku doesn't know where to find one, but has a good idea on who can. As the Dragon Balls are the main prize for the birthday minigames, they opt to ask Shenron about the Super Saiyan God. And so, the Dragon Balls are assembled and summoned. Beerus is the one to ask for the wish, and despite being scared, Shenron explains that one hasn't yet been created and that there is a ritual to create a Super Saiyan God. Beerus is intrigued and gets to work forcing the Saiyans to make someone the Super Saiyan God. At this point, everything goes pretty much just like in canon. They mess up the first time, and after Videl announces the pregnancy, they try again with success. Goku fights Beerus for the sake of the planet, and after everything he gave it, he still lost the battle, but won Beerus' respect. Whis took Beerus home, and everything went right back to normal. After that, the birthday party went as it does, just with the focus being on Videl as well due to the announcement she did. Either way, it's mostly the same. Since Beerus, the kids got even more motivated to train and get stronger. They want to attain the Super Saiyan God form on their own and use it in a fusion to battle Beerus and win as opposed to Goku. Vegeta is also quite pissed off that Goku surpassed him yet again and joins in with them. As for Gohan, he's primarily focused on family now and progressively turns into a softie. Vegeta joins in on the kids to train and get stronger, so they all go in the time chamber to train and do so. In the time chamber, they are getting their brute strength in check. But the kids have a much better idea. Since they couldn't sense Goku once he went Super Saiyan God, they should ask him to tell them how it feels so that they can try replicating it. Vegeta is pissed off at that and doesn't want to do that, so he just keeps on training on his own. All three are tied when it comes to power, but only the kids can go Super Saiyan 3 while Vegeta can't. Vegeta though has his reasons. He'd much rather master Super Saiyan 2 and use that instead of wasting his energy on Super Saiyan 3. So he trains on that too. In the meantime, the two kids begin experimenting with Super Saiyan 3 and their fusion. They're trying to push the 30-minute mark with the form so that they can use the entirety of the time limit in their most powerful state. They get somewhere, but they get tired of being in the time chamber and the constant mental struggle they have to endure from Vegeta in the past year, so they get out and just continue over at Capsule Corp. After one of their sessions, they witness Whis over with Bulma, so they follow at a distance. They see that Bulma is feeding Whis all kinds of cuisines and goodies. The two are weirded out at the fact and go ask Bulma. Bulma says Whis has been coming here for quite some time and she's been giving him some tasty food to eat. Whis follows that statement with his, saying that he's been eating some of the food so he can calm Beerus down as to not blow up the earth up again, since they're both massive eaters and love the taste of good food. Goten and Trunks have their answer, but then ask Whis what exactly he is. Whis says that he's Beerus' teacher and attendant, to which the kids are very intrigued. But they're not the only ones, as Vegeta is seen on the side, gasping at that answer. Whis sees Vegeta and greets the Saiyan Prince, but Vegeta gets to asking to where is Beerus and if he can fight him now. Whis says that he needs to learn to control his energy to give it maximum effect, to which Vegeta begs the question of training with Whis. Whis is quite reluctant to train with the Prince, but when the kids ask, Whis succumbs to the idea of giving him food he's never tasted before. Vegeta gets right to that, and we see Vegeta comically trying everything to get Whis to try the food, but since Whis has already tasted it all, Vegeta is out of ideas. Goten and Trunks tag team with Vegeta and suggest cup ramen to Vegeta, to which he gets a light bulb and gets to work on preparing. Whis tries the ramen and lets the two train. Bulma is angry that Vegeta is leaving to train, but even angrier at the fact Trunks is tagging along as well. Goten is scared as to what Chi-Chi is gonna say about him training as well, so he goes home to yoink his father to go with him. Whis is getting quite impatient with the waiting, but Goku instant transmissions to Whis and gets ready to go. As they're about to depart, Chi-Chi is flying with Gohan being the transport and yelling. Goku is scared shitless, but tells Whis to go before she loses her shit completely. All four Saiyans depart with Whis and are now under his training regime. Whis is quite annoyed as to how the situation was handled on Goku's end, but Goku says not to worry as Chi-Chi won't mind much. Vegeta is only annoyed that one he's trying to surpass is gonna train with him as well, but can't say much as he vows to train harder than ever. Once on Beerus' planet, they begin their training/chores and have to work on earning the training. While they're cutting grass and changing Beerus' sheets, Frieza got revived by the Earth's Dragon Balls, and the Z Fighter sensed it and questioned Frieza's arrival, but took it as anxiety. However, they're not the only ones that noticed, as all four Saiyans on Beerus' world had a gut feeling something bad has either happened or is about to happen. They take their training to the next level and give it their all, just in case. Because in this case, it wasn't just Goku and Vegeta who felt it, but the kids as well. Whis appreciates the fact that they have indeed noticed something going on, so he keeps an eye on them. In no time, the kids and the adults alike get a hold of God Ki quite fast and even unveil the power of Super Saiyan Blue right in front of kids, making them replicate that feeling. Applying that, the kids attain the form first, but not for long, as their fathers follow suit and replicate the feeling and the intensity of the form. In either case, they have all now attained Super Saiyan Blue and are training to master it. All that took about a year for them, and in the meantime, Frieza too trained up for about 4 months and is heading towards Earth to enact his revenge. On Earth, Jaco comes to warn the gang about Frieza coming to Earth, making Bulma shit her pants. Noticing that the Saiyans are nowhere on the planet, Jaco asks about everyone and Bulma mentions that they went to train with Whis, to which Jaco calls Cap. Bulma gets to calling for Whis with a crepe and this time gets an instant answer. Bulma asks for the quartet and Whis gives his staff to Vegeta, to whom the whole Frieza situation is explained. Goku, Vegeta, Goten and Trunks are now in a pickle as to how long they have, and Jaco mentions how they have about 20 minutes before Frieza arrives. Whis mentions that from here to Earth it's at least an hour round trip. Goku urges to get to traveling right then and there, and so they leave Bulma on hold as they're traveling throughout the cosmos full speed. As the Saiyans are traveling, Bulma tells Jaco they're on their way and they should be there shortly. Jaco says they won't be able to make it on time, so he tells Bulma to get assembling everyone she can that can fight Frieza off, and so she does. In no time, the Z fighters are assembled and are ready for anything. Just in time, they sense Frieza and his limitless energy emitting from the sky, so they follow at a distance as to where he will land. As Frieza touches down, his entire army touches down with him and exiting the ship. Just in time, Goku manages to pick up Frieza and tells Whis to stop to instant transmission them all there. The gang grabs onto Goku and they teleport to Earth right in front of Frieza. Frieza is delighted to see everyone but Beerus and Whis and gets scared. Beerus just says he doesn't care what he does, just to stay away from his dessert. Frieza needed to hear that and so challenges Goku to a battle. Goku however gets cocky and tells Frieza Goten and Trunks can fuse and beat his ass in less than 30 minutes. Frieza is getting bitchy but has no fear in his eyes and so lets the two brats fight him. Goten and Trunks decide to fuse right away. Gotenks is born once again, more confident and stronger than ever. Frieza looks at the fusion and sees that they're quite powerful, but does not want to worry. Gotenks flies up to face Frieza with pride and getting into a stance, starting the battle. Frieza is weaker in this case, so he's not doing very well against the fusion, so try as he might, he cannot do anything to the young boys. Frieza then starts unveiling his latest form, that being Golden Frieza. This scares the fusion a little bit, but they don't want to unveil Super Saiyan Blue just yet. So they go Super Saiyan 3 and putting their money on the fusion limit, and so they continue the battle. They battle and trade blows, but it's not all fine and dandy, because as much of a power up Gotenks has gained, Golden Frieza still prevails a lot stronger. Gotenks is hit in the liver and then into the ground, knocked out of the Super Saiyan 3, as they lay in the dirt trying to get up from the liver impact. Frieza then starts rushing him. Gotenks then decides it's over with the games and starts getting flame marks around him, as their eyes turn red and their hair slowly starts turning a red shade. Frieza cannot stop at that point, so he gives it his all on the offense. Gotenks reaches Super Saiyan God and tanks the full impact. Frieza is confused, but Gotenks smiles and pushes Frieza away with his ki. Frieza is now forced to use his full power to battle against Gotenks, which starts draining him a lot more too. Gotenks is still not as powerful as Frieza, but sees that something is going on with Frieza. Frieza is slowly getting gassed out without even noticing his energy plummeting down, so Gotenks pushes through until Frieza starts getting weaker and weaker. However though, due to him using Super Saiyan 3 prior, he doesn't know how long he has left to prove a point. He tries pushing the fusion to as far as it can go, taking multiple hard hits from Frieza, but even those hits get weaker after a few assaults. Gotenks stops feeling them and catches one of Frieza's fists, smirking and landing a serious gut punch on Frieza. Then, returning the same favor that got him, and while dodging another one of Frieza's fists, jabs Frieza in the liver hard enough to get him into excruciating pain. That was it from Frieza, as he went right back to his normal form and held aside where his liver is. Gotenks began explaining that even though he has become more powerful, he had a major side effect of a new form, and that is not getting used to the form and is drained. and if he wanted, he would have gone even further beyond. Gotenks then shows off his Super Saiyan Blue right in front of Frieza and makes him look in awe at the power of the fusion, making him to go into denial. Gotenks spares no fucks and powers up a blast strong enough to wipe out the whole planet and shoots it at Frieza, effectively killing him off with ease. Frieza is now gone, but not all of the force is, as Sorbet comes up from behind Bulma and kidnaps her, threatening to kill her. Gotenks gets scared, but Vegeta gives zero fucks, making an afterimage and chokes Sorbet from behind, which makes Sorbet release Bulma from captivity. Vegeta then uses a small blast and blasts the hell out of Sorbet, killing him off as well. All the other Frieza Force members were also killed off by the other Z fighters, so the Force is now truly gone and Frieza is back to his hell. Gotenks finally split up, with both still being in Super Saiyan Blue. Just in that moment, Chi-Chi came in rushing and screaming her lungs out at Goten and Goku on how Goten missed the entire school year and how Goku allowed it. Goku just smiled, but Goten came in, apologizing first and then saying how it's better for him to train and get stronger for the future foes that might come. Chi-Chi is still mad, but proud of her youngest son managed to defeat Frieza. Everyone starts laughing in unison and all is going well. They go over to Goku's house and create a massive picnic for everyone to enjoy. After a few months, all four Saiyans continue training on Beerus' world, only this time Goten had to bring a shit ton of books so that he can get ready for high school, which is coming quite fast. So that meant that Goten had to train up as much as possible so that he can maintain all his powers. Trunks on the other hand also has to study, but ignores the books unless his father tells him so. Yeah, Vegeta out of all people tells his son to study. Either way, the training is going quite nicely. However, they return to Earth to spend time with their families. Due to Goten and Trunks training day in and day out, that results in their bodies starting to grow much sooner due to the demand their bodies need to keep all that power within. Either way, they're both forced to go to school since their mothers forced them to do so. They didn't know when they can train, but during Dende's visit, they figured they can just use the time chamber to train on their free day. The idea here is that since the time moves slower in there, they will be able to squeeze in those waking hours they have on a Sunday to about a few months inside the time chamber. And so, the two begin doing that, while Goku and Vegeta go back to Beerus' world. Gohan is told about their idea and is genuinely intrigued by their intellect, wondering why didn't he think of that sooner to keep up with the rest. He speaks to Videl about it and she's quite supportive of the idea of him to train and actually forces it on him. Gohan, thinking about the good it will do, realizes just how weak he's actually gotten, and so with that, he decides he got a bit too scrawny from all the scholar BS he did and focused on his strength, since he basically got it for free by the old Kai. So he decides to join in on with the kids to train with them inside the time chamber. While all that is happening, Goku and Vegeta are training on Beerus' planet with heavy suits and are doing a pretty good job trying to keep up with each other. All of a sudden, an explosion occurs in the distance and it turns out it's Champa. Champa is here to give Beerus a taste of the best eggs, but Beerus isn't too impressed and whips out the ramen, to which the challenge began. Goku and Vegeta are obviously up for the tournament, but they need 3 more people, so they just go recruit the other 3 Saiyans to go along with them. On Earth, Beerus and Whis go chow at Bulma's place, while Goku looks for the kids and Gohan. He gets to Dende and Dende says they're currently in a time chamber and training today, since they decided to train on a free weekend. Goku is amazed that Gohan decided to pick up on his training along with the kids and that was quite a good idea. So he waits in on them to finish and goes to eat with the gang over at Capsule Corp. Goten, Trunks, and Gohan exit the chamber about 10 hours later from Goku's visit and they are told by Dende that Goku is looking for them all. So they visit Capsule Corp. Goku is there and relaxing after a feast and the trio asks what's going on. Goku elaborates on how there's a destroyer from Universe 6 that would like a small tournament against his universe's best fighters and how the grand prize are the Dragon Balls, much bigger than Earth. The trio is quite intrigued and are wondering on what it is. Goku says it's in about 2 days and that they need to make some reason to skip school in order to participate. Vegeta is a bit concerned about the kids joining in on the tournament, but Goku reassures him that they have enough experience and maturity in order to get the fight in there. Gohan is ecstatic for the tournament, wanting to unveil his new form that he has acquired in the time chamber. And so, the tournament is set pretty much instantly on the Universe 7's end. The day of the tournament is here and everyone is ready to go. The fighters and the rest of the gang is all set and ready to go with a nice barbecue during the trip sponsored by Chi-Chi. Once there, they see the ring and the stands, and the fighters still have to take the dummy test before the tournament, and everyone still passes. The spectators and fighters get seated accordingly on their respective places, and the tournament matchups begin. The first of fights is of course Goku, and he's fighting against Botamo. Botamo proves to be a bit of a challenge due to his size, but nothing Goku can't figure out really, as Goku simply throws him out of the ring. Next up is Frost, and he doesn't see much of a challenge, and Goku fights him as he normally would, even getting poisoned like in the original. Next one against him is Gohan, and sees that Frost did something to his dad and is on guard, looking for anything that might spark that sudden defeat. So he observes how Frost fights and his techniques while dodging, but can't find anything and blames it on his father's carelessness. So he continues with the battle normally. Frost is trying his best against Gohan, but Gohan is just too much for him with his mystic. Gohan though still has fun with Frost until he suffers the same fate as his father. Gohan gets poisoned and gets dizzy but not down as he blindly attacks Frost by doing an upwards kick and pushing Frost away with his ki. Gohan slowly gets back to his senses and notices he has been punctured and calls Frost out for cheating. The referee looks at Gohan's right elbow and sees that there is indeed an entry wound the size of a needle, and Jocko forces the referee to search Frost's body. The referee looks and finds what he's been looking at and calls Frost disqualified, despite Frost's best efforts to keep himself in the battle. Gohan prevails and goes up against Vegeta, who's quite powerful in his own way. Champa requests for a boundary box and Beerus accepts. But Gohan is on high alert as he knows Vegeta too has some kind of gimmick as well, and so gets to work figuring out what that gimmick is. Vegeta uses quite a handful of range attacks, and Gohan thinks that those attacks are why the boundary was created. So he uses his quick thinking to go and apply some close range attacks on Vegeta. However, those seem to prove nothing, so he's left with energy attacks, which he throws and they make a dent. So he starts planting small energy mines around Vegeta and conveniently, provocatively tells Vegeta that he will send him back to a landfill with the next attack. That line sets Vegeta off and he gets emotional, crumbling down into a fetus position right on one of those mines as it sets off and blows up, sending Vegeta into the boundary wall, eliminating him from the tournament. Goku is now conveniently back because of Frost's cheating and is watching on the fight, proud of his son. As the father and son give each other a thumbs up, the new matchup is in the ring, that being Kaba. Kaba knows that his power is nothing, but tries to inquire on the blonde hair transformation before the match begins. Gohan explains that it's a Super Saiyan transformation and asks Kaba if he has it. Kaba says he does not have the ability to transform, but knows vague information about it and asks if he can be taught. Gohan sees Kaba as a good guy, but doesn't really know how to teach him. The match begins and Kaba is faring pretty good against Gohan, even in his base, and he impresses Gohan. But Gohan is still thinking about Kaba not knowing how to transform, and that is annoying him that he will have to knock out a new Saiyan in an instant. They come to a standstill and Kaba compliments Gohan, but Vegeta yells how Kaba is a weakling not worthy of being a Saiyan. That sparks an idea in Gohan's head, as he elaborates to Kaba how all of the Saiyans from his universe would be disappointed and that he was just playing with him. Kaba is apologetic about it, but Gohan gets an idea and Vegeta finds himself for a second, throwing a punch and berating Kaba, telling him if he wants to stay a weakling, then he will pay the ultimate price. Gohan knows what kind of ruthlessness Vegeta had back then, so he tries to emulate it by knocking Kaba down to the ground and threatening to blow up his planet since he didn't find a good match in this tournament. Kaba reminisces his memories, and that's all it took to get Kaba to the edge of transforming, as he does his first successful transformation and attacks Gohan. Gohan sees that he has powered up, but is wondering about his control, so he dials down the tough guy act and tries to get Kaba to calm down, but he wouldn't. Gohan, not knowing what to do, knocks Kaba out and tells Champa that he has taught Kaba how to transform and to thank him about it. Champa is prideful, but Beerus is angry and impressed at Goku's son. Gohan then gets out of the ring to talk to his dad, because he's having a weird feeling about his next and final opponent. Goku says to gauge him and to be careful. Gohan gets back and Hit is waiting on him. Gohan is paying attention to Hit's fighting stance and sees that it's quite unique. The Saiyan gets ready, trying to see all the critical points, but Hit's menacing look is quite distracting. Either way, Gohan goes for an offense. However, Hit uses time skip to hit Gohan's liver and cripple him to the ground. Gohan has no idea what just happened or how did he attack so fast. He can't tell that he's not so powerful, so he blames some sort of technique. He remembers Goldo and his ability to pause time at any time he breathes, so he looks for Hit's breaths. However, that is inconclusive, as Hit starts packing Gohan to the ground. Gohan gets down to the ground again and starts thinking if he's just really fast. So, Gohan starts powering up and transforming. The aura is intense and Gohan screams as he transforms into his beast mode. That interests everyone present, including the Universe 6 fighters. Gohan has unlocked a new form only applicable to his Mystic Pass and goes for an assault and manages to catch some of the Hit's attacks and attack him back. But the lack of knowledge about time skip gets Gohan in a tight spot once again as he gets a hard jab from Hit and Gohan collapses. Gohan gets back up and tries again, but he gets hit multiple times and collapses down to the ground and out of his beast form. Gohan though still doesn't want to quit as he gets right back up and attacks Hit in his base. Hit is dodging, wanting to see the drive of the Saiyans, but it is in vain on Gohan's end as he gets simply knocked out and eliminated. Goku is next, now being back in the tournament, and his end goes relatively the same as in canon, except that because he watched more of Gohan's fight, he figured out how to counter the time skip. And so, he gets into battle and enters Super Saiyan Blue right away to fight Hit. The whole Kaioken ordeal goes on, and Goku forfeits the match to prevent Beerus and Champa from destroying everything. Beerus is mad at Goku now, but puts his faith in the kids, since they can't plan out their attacks. Goku on the other hand has a better idea, and that is to let the two fuse against Hit. Goten and Trunks did not expect that, but decide it's a good idea, so the two fuse into Gotenks and get into the ring, with Champa getting seriously worried because it's their last fighter versus his. The battle begins and Gotenks goes Super Saiyan Blue and immediately gets on the same level as Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken Goku and goes for an offense. Gotenks knows of the time skip and spares no niceties with Hit as he battles Hit with all of his might. Hit is having a bit of difficulty but decides to power up his time skip to a whole 2 seconds to surpass Gotenks by a long shot, and Gotenks is in a pickle as he's being thrown around. Gotenks is getting desperate and tries his best to power up all the way and use every single attack he can muster up, but to no avail. Hit just has too much power behind his time skip. However though, he takes a page out of Goku's book and goes for predictions and his instinct. Going back to Whis' words of how their bodies have to think on their own, he lets his body do the work, dodging the 2-second skip and, while flaring his aura, entering an unknown state with a royal blue aura and kicking Hit in the liver, making Hit pass out on the ground. Gotenks powers down and comments how everyone likes going for liver hits and that it's annoying. In either case, Gotenks won the fight by a knockout and is considered the victor of his universe. The Z fighters start celebrating, however Zeno appears and the whole Goku ordeal appears. However, this time Gotenks also chimes in and flexes his win to Zeno. Both Goku and Gotenks are liked by Zeno, and so Zeno leaves just seconds before Gotenks unfuses. Now that the Zeno is gone and Gotenks is back to themselves, they are deciding on what to do next. They won the tournament, so they have earned the Super Dragon Balls. Champa, on the other hand, is angry and proud they needed a fusion to defeat Hit. Once they found the last one, they get to wishing for a copy of Earth for Champa. After all that is done, they go back to Earth and have a feast after a good tournament. After a while, the Saiyans are back to training. Goten and Trunks are figuring out the new power they managed to attain in the tournament and wonder how that happened. Whis briefly explained that they managed to attain it due to the heat of battle, and also because they got desperate and they managed to unlock a higher state of Super Saiyan Blue. Vegeta and Goku are quite interested in that and want to see how it works and attain it for themselves. So the quartet goes back into the time chamber with Whis to train up and attain it. So Vegeta, Goten and Trunks go ahead and learn to attain the power to the best of their ability. Goten and Trunks have no issue since they already had a taste in it, but Vegeta requires a catalyst to attain it, that is, desperation of battle. Goku decided that he won't go into that form despite being much less training than Kaioken, but he has a good idea on how to get Kaioken to work just perfect if not better. So he works on Kaioken but winds up getting an onset energy disorder from the tournament and had to stay off of the training for a while. While they were training in the time chamber, a time machine came by near Capsule Corp and crashed in the backyard. No one knows what's happening and Gohan is genuinely confused. Gohan checks inside the machine and sees himself, just beat up and in a really bad shape. He gets Bulma and they put what they assume is future Gohan on a table. Bulma wonders where the rest of the Saiyans are, so Gohan elaborates that they're in the time chamber and training for the new form the Gotenks had displayed in the tournament. Bulma doesn't care and asks of Gohan to get a senzu bean to heal future Gohan. Gohan goes to get a senzu over at Korin's and feeds future Gohan a senzu. Gohan comes back to his senses and starts getting emotional seeing Bulma again and hugs her. He asks where Black is, but not a single soul knows who or what that is. Future Gohan then inquires about Goku and the rest, and Bulma answers how they're currently training in a time chamber and will be out quite fast. Future Gohan realizes he's in a time where Goku is still alive and well, so he's grateful that he manages to hit the right timeline after all. Gohan asks what happened that he had to come to this time, and so Future Gohan elaborates about a foe that has come to Earth to destroy all the mortals and rid the Earth of what he said were impurities to create a perfect utopia. He explains how this went on for the past few months and that the majority of Earth's special forces were killed in an assault by this Black about almost a year ago. Bulma asks about him, and then Future Gohan says how he looks almost like Vegeta, but is not, but rather a fusion of his brother and Trunks in a way. Gohan is wondering on how could Gotenks do something. However, Future Gohan is much more interested to know on how they know about him. Bulma says how those two managed to do great things and even fuse to become stronger. Before Future Gohan could react, a time rift opens. Future Gohan gets scared, but the present Gohan is quite interested in this new foe. Out comes a person in a black gi outfit and with Gotenks' body. Gohan is intrigued as to what's going on with Gotenks, however Future Gohan gets ready for battle. Gohan says not to worry as he will intervene the situation and fight this foe. Gotenks looks onto past Gohan and comments on him how his power is quite interesting and how he looks forward to defeating the older version of his own. Powering up, now known as Gotenks Black, goes for an offense and attacks Gohan, sending him into the air, following for a sledgehammer and sending Gohan down to the ground. Gohan hits the ground, but not for long as he too powers up and returns the fire. Gohan is seen being on par with Black, but the more he fights, the more he gets stronger. Gohan is interested in the power of the new foe, so he goes all out on him. He uses the new beast form of his and starts pounding Black into the dirt, while Black is watching on in utter confusion as to how does a mortal have that power. Gohan, however, isn't really interested in the fight, but rather the earrings he has and calls him out for the Patara earrings he wears. Black says that he has now went ranks up and doesn't listen to the questions of mortals anymore. Gohan is weirded out by it, but all of that stops when Black starts getting pulled back by the time ring he's wearing. Black then notices the time machine future Gohan used to travel back in time, and so he prepares a large blast to annihilate the entire area and shoots it. Beerus comes in clutch, having sensed the commotion, and dissipates the blast. He notices the time ring Black is wearing, so he goes to confront the menace. Before he could have a word with him, Black was pulled back to the future. Beerus is now enraged to see time manipulation activity and asks for an explanation. Future Gohan senses that shit is going down, so he keeps quiet. However, present Gohan decides to chime in on everything that went on, with future Trunks first appearing to warn them about the androids and even fighting with them to defeat them, up until now with this new foe that has managed to travel through time with him. Beerus says that this is a very bad offense on his end, using a time machine to travel back in time, but waits on Whis since he's interested in the time ring. They settle down to eat, and Gohan says that they got a weird vibe off of Black, like he's tied to Supreme Kai's or something similar, as the ki barely resembles that of their actual Gotenks, but rather of a Supreme Kai. Beerus has noticed that and is also interested on that, as well as the time ring. While all that was happening, Whis and the Saiyans have completed their training more or less, and so they get out. They sense two familiar powers when they get out, so they go check it all out. At Capsule Corp, they see the gang chowing on food, and what is more interesting, two Gohans and a time machine. They go say hi, and future Gohan sees Goten and Trunks and is on the verge of tears seeing the two again. Goku asks what's going on and where's Trunks this time around. Gohan explains it all, and then Vegeta starts gawking at future Gohan on how it wasn't enough to bring the androids, so now he's the one bringing the evil Gotenks into their life. The two teenagers are confused as to what's going on and how the whole Gotenks Black ordeal happened, but they humor the situation on the poor naming of the poor foe. Whis and Beerus decided they'll let the fate of the future warrior into something high in calories. So they get a new treat and they both love it, allowing the planning to continue. Beerus tells Whis about the time ring situation and how they should start investigating that as well. And so they take Goten and Trunks along on the ride, since it's their counterfeit that started the entire bullshit. Meanwhile, future Gohan takes Goku, Vegeta and Gohan to the future to gauge the opponent a bit more, even though Gohan used the strongest form against him. In the future, Goku, Vegeta, and Gohan are basically all ready to call in the menace, but Vegeta has a bit of a different plan before the fight. Future Gohan takes them to a hideout, and Vegeta lets everyone in on a feast, courtesy of Bulma. Future Gohan sees Mai in a critical condition when he comes back and feeds her a senzu. Goku is surprised that his future son kissed a girl that isn't Videl. Future Gohan gets emotional about it, but doesn't let it get to his head. Mai is awake and alert and sees that Gohan is back, safe and sound. After that, the Saiyans come out to challenge the menace and call out for him. Gotenks Black is there pretty much in an instant and starts packing the Saiyans for interfering in this plan, but interference was their plan all along. However, Vegeta has a better plan though. Since Gotenks Black was dominated by Gohan, he wants to have a turn to gauge Black and defeat him himself quickly. Vegeta steps up and faces Black. Vegeta sees that Black is something completely different, considering that he hasn't unfused yet. Black says that if Vegeta defeats him, he will reveal on how he stays fused the way he is. Vegeta takes that as a challenge and they begin the battle. Vegeta immediately goes Super Saiyan Blue and beats Black's ass into a bloody pulp. Black gets up and dusts himself off, then thanks Vegeta for the beatdown, saying that the answer will come along very soon as he starts powering up. Vegeta and the rest watch on, powering up Black as Black goes into his Super Saiyan Rose. With the new power, his strength is way too much even for a fusion of Goku and Vegeta. Considering that Gohan has beast mode and knows he's plenty stronger than both Goku and Vegeta, he goes to take a crack at Black once Vegeta gets one shot to the ground. Gohan, now fully powered up, goes and attacks Gotenks Black with about half of his full power and makes a bit of a dent. Seeing this won't go anywhere, he powers up all the way and tries to end Black with one shot, but Black is holding on quite well. Black is getting beaten up a little, but gets stronger from it by each passing second, utilizing the hell out of Zenkai boosts and eventually managing to defeat Gohan. He then goes over to defeat the rest, but Goku picks up everyone and instant transmissions off planet along with a machine. Goku and Future Gohan pack everyone in the machine and they go back to the present timeline to heal up and get stronger. Just then, Zamasu came by to Gotenks Black, wondering what's going on. In the present, all 4 Saiyans go and get a senzu real quick to heal up and then decide to go in the time chamber. Goten and Trunks return from visiting Gowasu with Beerus and Whis and see no weird attentions, nor are any of the time rings missing from their nice little box. Goten and Trunks don't know exactly what's going on, but they do know that whatever happened has turned them evil in the future. So they decide to go in the future with Future Gohan in order to see exactly what's going on. In the future, the 2 kids and Future Gohan land and are greeted almost immediately by Gotenks Black and Zamasu. The kids immediately recognize Zamasu since they sparred him as Gotenks during the visit back in the present timeline. Zamasu then destroys the time machine with a simple flick of a finger, rendering them stuck in time. Future Gohan is now very concerned, having taken 2 teenagers into a real battle, but Goten and Trunks aren't concerned. Fusing into Gotenks, they go up against Black, while Future Gohan goes up against Zamasu. Gotenks and Black begin in base and then work their way up to Rose and Blue respectfully, while Future Gohan and Zamasu go at it with their own powers. Future Gohan in regular Mystic and Zamasu abusing the hell out of his immortality. Both Gotenkses are faring pretty well against each other, but neither side is winning or losing. They're both tied in terms of power and skill, however Black is fighting something other than Gotenks, and Gotenks sure notices it. Black's body keeps staring in the middle for a brief moment, seeing where present Gohan guessed on the relation to Akai, since the ki during that small split is exactly like Zamasu's. Gohan, on the other hand, isn't doing so well, as his power plummets the more he's losing his bravado, since he cannot do an effective hit on Zamasu, as Zamasu just keeps on regenerating. Zamasu finds an opening, allowing him to come up from behind Future Gohan and slicing his arm off, then stabbing him and throwing him into a ditch. Gotenks sees that and screams out for Gohan as his focus is redirected and it allows Black and Zamasu to team up against Gotenks and kick them into the dirt. Gotenks goes to pick up Gohan and get out of there with him, but Black and Zamasu blast a combined ki wave right at him. Gotenks jumps into the air and intentionally lets the fusion collapse, leaving Future Gohan in Trunks' arms as Goten does a solar flare and they manage to escape to the lookout. In the present, Goku, Vegeta, and Gohan leave the time chamber and ask where the kids are. Bulma says that she hasn't seen them either and that Chi-Chi's having a psychotic attack like usual because Goten missed 2 days of school. Whis chimes in, saying that they went to the future with Future Gohan and are gonna be back in soon. Chi-Chi and Bulma freak out at those news, but Goku and Vegeta are quite chill with it. Gohan, on the other hand, senses like something is terribly wrong and isn't very keen on getting the 2 kids to the future. In either case, Goku is called by Zeno to his world and the canon events such as the Zeno button goes as per usual. Zeno asks where Gotenks is, but Goku says that Gotenks isn't with them as of now but will be very soon and apologizes for it. Zeno then modifies the Zeno button to be able to teleport anyone who Goku chooses, so that Gotenks doesn't have to have a secondary Zeno button. Goku thanks Zeno and departs from Zeno's world. On Earth, Bulma has grown concerned and thinking of getting the old and moldy time machine ready because she too senses something is wrong. So she goes and gets the old time machine out and begins tearing it apart and rebuilding it, using instructions she tore out of the glove box of the time machine. In the future, on the lookout, Goten, Trunks, and very badly injured Gohan land and Mr. Popo greets them, wondering what's going on. Goten elaborates on how Gohan needs a heal very fast and if Dende is around. Mr. Popo says that Dende has perished with the rest of the planet's populace and that he's the one of the very few remaining. Popo then elaborates on how he has managed to save a stock of senzu beans from Korn's tower in case things go really bad. Goten and Trunks are ecstatic to hear that and request a senzu bean. Once Future Gohan eats that senzu, he recovers but with a missing arm. Gohan takes some rest, seeing he just recovered being in a bad shape, so Goten and Trunks theorize with Mr. Popo on what's exactly going on. Popo had a similar idea and encounter with Black, and he thinks that Gotenks Black is just Zamasu in his body, hence the incompatibility splits and all that. Goten and Trunks agree, so they theorize on the whole thing. Popo says that there might be a way to win against them using a technique taught by the same people that taught Goku instant transmission, that being spirit fission. Goten and Trunks ask where to learn it, and so Mr. Popo takes it upon himself to get them to Yardra using Kami's old ship, which somehow still exists. On Earth, the time machine is complete and all ready to go. Goku, Vegeta, Gohan and Bulma go and get ready for the trip, and so they go to the future. In the future, they appear right in front of Black and Zamasu, and so that time machine is also destroyed, with them escaping with a second to spare. Goku, Vegeta and Gohan all go and start going all out to fight them. Gohan going up against Zamasu, Goku and Vegeta against Gotenks Black. Bulma gets scared of the entire situation and goes to hide. Just in time, future Gohan comes in clutch to help out protect Bulma while the rest of the Saiyans are busy fending off the two villains. In the meantime, Goten and Trunks begin training for 4th Spirit Fission and they're progressing really fast, having all that potential and are doing really good having gotten all of it in less than 3 days. They even get to learn instant transmission. They sense everything going on Earth and are worried whether they will finish their training in time. During one of the breaks during training, one of the Yardradians explains on how Gotenks Black came to be. He elaborates that there are 2 reasons as to why the split doesn't succeed. 1. Zamasu is a Kai, and that means that whatever fusion happens, it stays permanent and it's not bound to just Potara. And 2. Gotenks was 2 souls in one body, hence the fusion aspect, so putting a single soul inside a fused body will immediately make it rendered useless, and once split, the 2 souls return back to their respective bodies, while the soul that replaced those 2 will be sent to the purgatory of the other world. Goten and Trunks understand and continue their training. They manage to master all those in just 3 days and are ready to return. They instant transmission Mr. Popo and the spaceship to the lookout, and the duo interjects in on a fight as Gotenks, ready for round 2. With the Gotenks there, they go for an assault on Gotenks Black right away. They know his power and they know they got a bit more powerful, so they want to fight first before getting rid of him. Zamasu is being kept busy by Goku and Vegeta. Future Gohan and Gohan are discussing on whether it'll go good or bad, but future Gohan is mad about a certain thing. Gotenks is faring pretty well against Black, but Black keeps on getting stronger and trying to intervene and kill off any one of the Z fighters. Gotenks knows what he's doing and instant transmissions in front of Black to fend him off, not allowing him to do anything to anyone. As Black gets stronger, Gotenks gets weaker, so he tries using Super Saiyan Blue evolution and giving it his all to try and finish Black without the fusion. Black and Zamasu then decide to fuse so that Gotenks nor anyone else has a chance against them. Fusing into fused Zamasu, Gotenks' fight now got even harder and way more stressing, since now it's 3 against 2 and he knows for sure that it won't last. However, once the 2 fuse, the second they combine, their bodies crack right in the middle as fused Zamasu is in immense pain. Gotenks sees that the fusion is incompatible and gets to work using spirit fission to defuse Zamasu, and then Goten and Trunks. However, before he managed to pull it off, fused Zamasu exploded and was nowhere to be found. Gotenks covers himself watching fused Zamasu go out with a bang, looking on to see what's exactly happening. After a few short seconds, the light dissipates and the whole explosion goes away. Fused Zamasu is no longer seen, and Gotenks unfuses back into the 2 boys, but just as they're about to say something, a red light appears out of nowhere and out comes Eternal Zamasu, ready to destroy the entire universe, having begun spreading throughout the universe. Goku gets cornered seeing all the stray blasts going right for them, but gets an idea to instant transmission away. Goku tells everyone to hold on, but nothing happens. They just end up in the sky, since no amount of power and focus will allow them to escape. Goku then starts thinking for once, remembering the Zeno button and pulling it out, telling everyone to hold on again. He presses the Zeno button and escapes the Earth, leaving Zamasu completely confused. However, over at Zeno's palace, Daishinkan was already waiting on them, sort of furious at the fact they did an illegal jump between timelines. Daishinkan also gets pissed off at the fact they went to seek for help at the highest of gods to help out with their cause. Regardless, Vegeta gawks out, saying that they're truly sorry and that he can bring them back to their present timeline. The Shinkan, knowing the gang doesn't have a way back, realizes their plan and smiles at their creativity. The Shinkan then gets abrupted by Zeno, who recognizes future Gohan as Goku's son and shares small talk. But also Zeno recognizes Goku and knows that he's not from their time, but is glad to see him. Goku is glad that it actually worked and that the whole thing panned out perfectly. Goku then asks of Zeno to destroy Zamasu, who is currently in a process of terrorizing the entire Universe 7. Zeno doesn't spare a single moment and goes to Earth with his guards, and the erasure began. The Shinkan streamed the entire process to them via his staff. Zeno destroyed the entire universe and everything within it, including Zamasu and all life in it. Future Gohan is sad to see his entire universe gone, as well as everyone and everything he loved and cared for. The rest of the Saiyans are also very sad to see all this happen, mainly because of Gohan. Even Vegeta, although he's acting tough to not let his soft self appear. In that moment, Shin and Gowasu appear, having just escaped in just in the nick of time. They see the Saiyans and notice they're from their timeline, but once they see the Shinkan, they get scared, bow down, and apologize for the time linear intrusion. The Shinkan doesn't mind, but does tell Gowasu to get everyone who belongs to their timeline back, and they will deal with their version of Gohan. Gowasu and Shin understand, and they take everyone except Future Gohan back to their own timeline. Future Daishinkan and Future Gohan are now debating on some things. Since he couldn't save the universe by his own hand, he will receive the powers of a god of destruction, and Whis will be his attendant. Once that's done, Universe 7 will be restored back to its previous state for Gohan the Destroyer to get back into normality. Future Gohan accepts, and all goes well, so with that, the future has gotten safe. Back at home, in the present timeline, the Saiyans have returned with the two Supreme Kais and are worried about future Gohan. But Vegeta says that it's his timeline and his problem. As much as the gang agrees, they still worry about him. After a while, Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, Goten and Trunks are back to training. Goku and Vegeta are back on Beerus' world. Gohan, Goten and Trunks are back in school and are studying their asses off for missing school for the past week. Gohan for his studies and Goten and Trunks for their learning. Goten especially, since Chi-Chi is very angry at Goten for going into a completely different timeline. Either way, they're out of commission for a while, so it's up to the adult Saiyan duo to handle issues in the universe. Speaking of issues in the universe, Goku and Gotenks are called into Zeno's palace, and Beerus treats it like a massive issue, since he knows Goku is very stupid, and combining that with kids not being mature enough to be serious enough, Beerus is tripping. Shin is called to take Goku, Goten and Trunks to Zeno's palace on a nice weekend. Once there, the Shinkan greets them and sees that there's 3 of them. Goku says Gotenks is actually a fusion of his son and Vegeta's son. The Shinkan is amazed that the Saiyan race has learned their own ways to fuse, but Goten gives an example of the Metamoran dance to the Shinkan. The Shinkan witnesses the birth of Gotenks firsthand and sees what they've actually learned to fuse. Getting done with the small talk, the Shinkan leads them in to Zeno, who greets them with a smile. And then Zeno asks them about the tournament they discussed, and both Goku and Gotenks are all up for it, since they both like a good challenge. And so with that, the Tournament of Power is set. Back on Beerus' world, Beerus is scared shitless, wondering how it went. Goku and Gotenks say how they're currently setting up a big tournament against all the universes. So with it, they go home to relax. After a little bit of time, the Saiyans, including gods, are invited to Kai's realm to receive all the major details about the tournament. Once at the Kai's world, the Shinkan comes by and after a short and eerie pause, explains the tournament rules. The Shinkan explains on how it's going to be a battle royale on a big platform and how the winners gain access to the Super Dragon Balls, while the losing universe's fighters get wiped out from existence. All the Saiyans, Beerus, Whis, and the Kais are all scared as they all gulp in unison to the news. The Shinkan says that this is a decision by the Grand Zeno and that he cannot be debated with, and leaves just like how he came. Once that Shinkan is gone, Beerus takes a deep breath in and out, then blows up at Goku and Gotenks for making such a massive mistake and that they shouldn't have went to agree to the tournament. Goku and Gotenks apologize, but have a counter argument to that, saying that they couldn't have known about how the tournament will end up being and that they cannot control the rules anyways. Beerus is still mad at them for even suggesting such a thing, but then again, Goku chimes in on how they didn't know that and it's much easier that way and much better than the entire universe from what they've seen in the future getting wiped out. In either case, they begin prepping for the tournament. For starters, they needed to go on a Zeno Expo in order to pass for a tournament due to their low mortal level. So Goku, Gohan and Gotenks take on the role of fighting and pass with flying colors, with Gotenks being the most interesting to Toppo. Though the fight between the two didn't really happen. After their victory, the tournament grounds and last touches are set. They already have everyone in the tournament, so Tien is thrown out because he has no applicable techniques, so instead of him and Boo, Goten and Trunks take their place. Chi-Chi's angry at the fact that Goten already missed so much school, but then Goten tells his mother the truth, to which she comically faints. With everything done, they get to the Null Realm. Goten and Trunks look around, seeing nothing but a black void underneath the ring. As more and more contestants join in on the battle site, Goten and Trunks notice Kaba, whom Gohan taught Super Saiyan. They go greet him, but get stopped by Caulifla and Kale. Goten is surprised to see female Saiyans, while Trunks wanted to risk Caulifla. Goku goes to talk to Kaba, while Caulifla is busy having her nerves eaten by Trunks, and is having a pleasant conversation with a young Saiyan. The focus changes when Universe 11 chimes in, with their power more massive than anything anyone has ever seen. Jiren's stoicism gets the better of Goku's and Vegeta's focus and they go check him out. Jiren is staying calm while Toppo is not letting the two Saiyans come close to Jiren. Jiren senses Kachin-type cubes flying behind him and uses a super fast afterimage to evade them, leaving Goku, Vegeta, Goten and Trunks completely confused as to what just happened. In either case, the tournament begins. Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, Goten and Trunks all bitch as to who is getting to Jiren. Goten and Trunks want to fuse against the Pride Trooper so that they beat his ass sooner into the tournament, so they get rid of the strongest first. Gotenks is born and they play rock paper scissors to see who will win. Gotenks cheats a little and wins against them all, and so gets to take a crack at Jiren. That forces Goku to fight the 3 Universe 6 Saiyans on his own, Gohan to challenge Dispo, and Vegeta to challenge Toppo. Gotenks goes up against Jiren, and Jiren is looking like he doesn't give a fuck. But Gotenks is not fooled. Gotenks starts off in base, trying to gauge Jiren, but Jiren is just standing in place, tanking the hits like they're nothing. Gotenks then ramps it up to Super Saiyan Blue, and this time, Jiren has to do a bit of defense. So Gotenks keeps it up, hoping to find an opening. Meanwhile, with Vegeta and Toppo is giving it his best shot, but comparing to Vegeta's power, he knew Vegeta has a lot in his tank. So Toppo begins to start ramping his power up to match Vegeta. Gohan is fighting Dispo and knows of his speed antics right from the start. Since he was using no Mystic, he had to power up all the way, so he was using a lot of strength, which Dispo abused and got the upper hand in combat with. But only up until Gohan used his Mystic that he turned the tables on Dispo, using the Kamado form to utilize Dispo's moves against him and knock him out quite easily. Goku on the other hand is fighting all 3 Universe 6 Saiyans pretty much like how he fought Caulifla and Kale in canon. Back to Gotenks, the battle went relatively eventless until Gotenks uses Super Saiyan Blue evolution and starts making quite a bit of a mark on an alien. Jiren then displays a bit of his power, knocking Gotenks out for a little bit. Once Gotenks gets back to his senses, he knows he will only use himself up with the ace in sleeves, but decides to take a risk as he brings out the sorrow he pulled up inside and starts powering up, eventually going all out in his evolution, and at first starts destroying most of the stuff due to him coping on the inside, basically losing control. Jiren tries to dispose of him, but Gotenks takes the kick and turns his attention to Jiren, attacking him and doing a lot of damage to him. Jiren is confused as to what's going on, but Gotenks, even though he's just as confused, he continues with the assault. Jiren has to unveil his aura for the first time in the tournament. Back to Vegeta and Toppo. Toppo decided that the best course of action is to go into his destroyer mode and to finish Vegeta off for good. Vegeta had no way to actually counter any of the destruction blasts, but did realize one thing very fast. Toppo has a delay while charging his Hakai. Still, he had no chance to fight against it, just evade and hope for the best. However though, he remembered the fact he has one more form up his sleeves. And so, he uses Super Saiyan Blue evolution and starts pushing up against the blast. Toppo is confused as to why the blast isn't moving, but Vegeta throws it back at Toppo, who barely evades his own blast. Goku has defeated Kaba and is now in Super Saiyan God, battling Caulifla and Kale, who mastered the Berserker state. Goku manages to throw them off the ring for their impending elimination. But then, the two fuse into Kefla, and now Goku has quite a bit to worry about. The events go pretty much the same as in canon with those two. Goku barely gets up and calms his mind, initiating autonomous Ultra Instinct for the very first time. Gohan is now waiting to see what to do and is chilling out with the androids and Piccolo, thinking of who to take on next. In no time, he finds some prey to fight against, those being the Universe 6 Namekians and a Yard Rat. Vegeta at this point is doing the exact same thing as in canon, using his pride to win against Toppo and doing a final atonement to finish him off. Back to Gotenks and Jiren, those two are duking it out, but Gotenks is not even close to properly damaging Jiren. Jiren is exerting massive amounts of energy, so it's really tough for Gotenks to grab an edge in battle. Eventually, Gotenks' body gives out and he unfuses back to Goten and Trunks, to which Jiren just puts the two kids to sleep. Goku then steps in with his Ultra Instinct, still having it from battling and winning against Kefla, so he goes up against Jiren. The Z fighters watch on in awe as Jiren and Goku go all out. Goku, however, doesn't have complete mastery of Ultra Instinct, so it's getting tougher and more tiring to use it. Jiren is forced to use his full power to go and defeat Goku down to the ground after getting quite a bit of damage. Goten and Trunks are furious that they unfused at the worst possible time, but Gohan and Vegeta step in, both with their final forms. They go up against Jiren, but Jiren is holding his own against them. Gohan is giving it his all in his beast mode, but the best he manages is getting Jiren to his limit breaker mode. Vegeta gets tired out and cannot keep his evolution anymore, so he's tapped out, leaving Gohan to fight alone. Goku wakes up surrounded by other competitors, so Piccolo and 18 are there to go and help him fend them off and eliminate them too, while the real battle is going on. Gohan is losing his stamina quite fast. Goten and Trunks realize that, so they decide to push the fusion one last time out of sheer fear of loss. Fusing back into Gotenks, they go into their evolution and join in with Gohan, giving Jiren quite a hard time. Jiren is tired of being thrown around, letting his pride get in the way and going all out, throwing both Gotenks and Gohan into the ground. Gohan is tapped out at this point as well as Gotenks, but Gotenks' fear gets the better of him. He gets rageful and bitter, seeing someone else surpass them after promising they will surpass their fathers. So they start powering up, releasing massive amounts of energy. Jiren looks on to see Gotenks flaring his aura like crazy. He starts forming dark arcs around him, growing muscles and screaming like someone is tearing his skin off. After a violent explosion, there he is. Gotenks with a menacing and beautiful royal blue aura, whitish eyes, and blackish barrier aura around him. He has evolved an evolution of the form and he's now in full power. Jiren looks quite surprised but is still in full power just in case. Gotenks, however, uses what's left of his fusion time and his energy to make a final assault on Jiren, putting everything he has to it. Gotenks is fighting with all of his might and is bringing Jiren down on his knees. Jiren though isn't going down without fight. Gohan rushes in with his full power mystic and attempts to throw Jiren into the void with him. However, Jiren proves difficulty, so Goku and Vegeta also join in on it. Jiren is proving tough and is trying to pull back up, getting them sent into the bleachers and eliminating them, but also leaving him defenseless. Gotenks does his ghost technique and the ghosts bind onto Jiren, exploding on contact and sending him into the void as well. With that, Gotenks won the tournament and unfused due to the strain it put on his body, so that leaves only 17, 18, and the two kids in the ring. From here on out, the canon events unfold and the universes are restored back to their previous state. Back in Universe 7, on Earth, the gang returns back after having fought the most important battle of their lives. That was a courtesy of the deities. Goten and Trunks have a new power they have reached and are looking forward to the next weekend so they can train up in the time chamber. Goku, Vegeta, and Gohan are currently in a hassle because Vegeta is expecting a new child and cannot train, so they are forced to respect Vegeta's wishes and train alone on Beerus' world. This time, Whis does not interfere because the Tournament of Power is already over, so he has no reason to deliver the baby. Therefore, Bulma goes through it all normally. However though, Whis looks at Goten and Trunks, worried about something, and keeps a serious face, like he knows something. In either case, Whis takes the rest of the Saiyans that want to train to training. Goten and Trunks are going through their week in school, but something feels off to them. In the course of a few days, they've been reporting some strange things to each other that are happening to them. They've been feeling sluggish, unmotivated, and quite depressed, and also deprived of all the energy they had. Bulma and Chi-Chi got very worried as to what's going on, and Chi-Chi even took Goten to places to diagnose him on what's going on. But even that, nobody knows what's going on. Goten has to stay out of school because he would keep talking to someone or something about a curse during class, while he thought he was speaking in his mind. Bulma wasn't particularly worried as she knew that kids nowadays are like that and that it'll pass, but something still is not right. Trunks kept getting those same mental messages and likewise kept talking to himself. On Beerus' world, Whis says something is going on with Goten and Trunks and that it can pose a great threat. Goku and Gohan get scared, asking if the Gotenks Black situation was really them going evil, but Whis denies. He goes into detail about the Metamoran fusion and how a very long time ago, when the technique was created, it was abused by Metamorans, and those who abused the technique started getting mentally eaten from within. Whis thinks it's bad because there's two outcomes to it. Either they learn to control that mental image and turn it into power, or they will likely succumb to the power of the Metamoran ancestors and they will end up sending themselves to the other world. Whis is concerned that they won't be able to push through and decides that the two train and do chores while he goes and observes the two teenagers. When Whis arrives on Earth, Goten and Trunks are together and wondering what's gotten into them. They see Whis and he's acting like he usually would, but when asked about this new mental state of theirs, he stays silent. Goten and Trunks then get up, asking Whis what's going on, cause he knows. Whis is hesitant to gawk out, but eventually starts talking how they have overused the fusion too much and now there are consequences. He goes and explains them everything he told Goku and Gohan on Beerus' world, even going more into detail in the two outcomes that can happen to them. Goten and Trunks don't really have an answer to that. They can only hope their willpower won't destroy them. They tell Whis about the voices and shitty mood, and Whis already knows it's gonna turn real bad, real fast. He gives some advice about the voices in the head and that those are just their own consciousness talking to them and to try ignoring it. Meanwhile, with Goku and Gohan, Goku is concerned with what Whis said, and so is Gohan. Goku needs answers from the people that taught him that technique, so he tells Gohan to stay on Beerus' planet while he goes over to the other world for answers. Gohan abides, and so Goku instant transmissions to the other world and visits the Metamorans responsible for teaching him the fusion dance. They tell him that indeed it can happen if they're constantly fusing and abusing the fusion. Only a few people out of millions who know the technique and abuse it survived. Another one questions if it's perhaps a duo called Goten and Trunks. Goku is surprised to find out they know his son without mentioning, but he continues on how the two may just have a good chance of recovering, having sensed the mental destruction they're having to endure. Goku is still scared for that fact and knows he can't do anything, but he thanks the Metamorans for the help and comes back to Gohan, explaining the entire encounter. Back to Goten and Trunks, Whis is there to guide them through the process, but just as they're about to get comfortable, Jaco comes by with random people and they ask around for the Saiyans, to which Bulma says they are training on Beerus' world. Jaco can sense Goten and Trunks are currently exerting ki on Earth, but Bulma says they cannot help out in any fighting. Jocko does not care, and neither does the rest that came with him, so they knock the two out and depart with them. Whis shares a glance with one of them before they departed, and the other one smiles. On what we now see is a galactic patrol ship. The two awaken and get anxious as to what's going on and where they are, but Miris calms the situation down, saying not to be worried. Miris sees that the two are battling their mental struggle, but has a positive feeling about it. He introduces himself, states his intentions, and gets on explaining what they need and why it's so important. They need to neutralize a foe called Moro that has just escaped the galactic prison and has some weird abilities that he also explains. Goten and Trunks mention how they don't know if they're gonna be able to fight since they cannot fuse anymore due to an issue, to which Miris is well aware of and says it out loud as Metamoron curse. Goten and Trunks are amazed Miris knows about it, but don't care enough to ask how. They say that you can't and they're going through to get Goku, Vegeta, and Gohan to help out with the task, but Miris says he cannot get to them and neither can they. Goten tries to instant transmission to his father and then his brother, but neither of them works, so they're it for the mission. That said, Miris explains the mission: when, where, who, how, and why. Goten and Trunks have to take it, regardless of how fucked they feel, and they go towards New Namek, where Moro is currently residing. On the planet, the second they land they sense a menacing aura, as well as their keys starting to get dragged out. They can sense where all the power is going, so with a heavy heart, they go to see what's going on and to get rid of it as quickly as they possibly can. The closer they get to Moro, the more they can sense his true power. Trunks gets a little bit hyped for it, all while Goten is pissing his pants. Once they get to him, Trunks says he will fight first to see where he stands against him. Trying to transform into a Super Saiyan, Trunks is having issues since his mind isn't clear anymore. He struggles but ends up transforming. After transforming, he goes for it but ends up being thrown around like a pebble, all while Moro is chilling in the seat. Trunks is surprised to see that Moro is still chilling, so he goes to step it up to Super Saiyan Blue. He doesn't have control as his mind is all over the place, so he enters Super Saiyan God with difficulty and starts making a dent on Moro. Moro, however, uses the planet's energy to hit Trunks with a flurry of energy attacks, which confuses Trunks and makes him angry. Trunks tries to power up further beyond, but it doesn't work. He just doesn't have enough focus to manage, which gets him bitter. He tries to transform with every fiber of his body, but he doesn't achieve anything except close calls. Trunks gets infuriated, absolutely livid by this curse he's gotten, and just tries putting everything he can to power up. He ditches the entire feeling of depression he has accumulated, stops thinking about everything, and decides he doesn't give a solitary fuck. He sees there's nobody else to protect him, no fusion they could go into to make him stronger, nothing else to consider, and with that, his hair spikes up, his eyes whiten, and his aura spikes into a dark mist-like aura. Goten looks on to see something unexpected from Trunks, something he's never seen before. Trunks is now seen with his eyebrows deleted, enveloped in dark aura and interesting purplish hair. Goten senses familiarity with the energy he's sensing from Trunks, sensing it like it's the energy they have as Gotenks. Trunks has unleashed the fusion curse, having the full power of the fusion he has been abusing for a long time. Moro is scared to see the power, so he tries stealing it as fast as possible in order to get him out of the way. But something's wrong. The energy he's taking from Trunks feels off. It's really negative and it begins slowly attacking him from the inside as Moro grabs his head and stops stealing more energy. Trunks is looking into Moro's eyes as Moro is in extreme agony. Trunks is at that point not in full control, but rather the part of it is controlled by a primal Saiyan beast within him. Trunks closing in the distance between him and Moro, pouring and gifting more energy to him as Moro's power plummets down and he slowly starts decaying. The fusion curse is making Moro shrivel up and wither away as he writhes in pain. Dying off in agony, Moro is now gone, and New Namek is saved. Trunks looks on to Goten, smiling and going out of this newfound form. Goten, completely confused as to what just happened and what Trunks just unlocked, he goes up to him. Trunks is happy with himself once more, but Goten is weirded out by this new power. Goten mentions how it's literally like Gotenks but evil version. Trunks adds on that it's some sort of potential unleash caused by the Metamorph fusion, allowing the power they have as Gotenks to be channeled through one single user. Goten doesn't know what to say and gets angry about it. Trunks is asking if Goten is okay, but Goten powers up out of rage and attacks Trunks. Trunks takes the hit, wondering what has gotten into Goten. Trunks powers up as well, trying to defend himself. Each blow from Goten is more powerful and the force of attack is much harder. Goten starts accumulating those same black arcs that Trunks had when fighting Moro, so Trunks knew what's going on. Due to a chain reaction, Goten, as a second fusee, is getting into a form as well. Trunks figured that part out, so he accesses the Metamorph potential himself and fights Goten with it, simply catching his fists and evading any attack Goten throws at him. Goten gets to the same point where Trunks was due to the chain reaction, explodes, and also realizes that he's not a kid anymore. So with Goten and his Metamorph potential as well, Goten calms his energy and realizes what was stopping him. With that, both Goten and Trunks now have the potential of the fusion as two separate beings, which is quite convenient because 7-3 joins in on a party. Goten and Trunks get ready for battle, not knowing what kind of shit they're getting into. Meanwhile, with Goku and Vegeta, all is going as per canon. Goku is sparring with Whis, while Vegeta is sparring with Beerus and attempting to do a Hakai, all while Granola wishes for the power to Torombo. After a bit, the two Saiyans are tricked, as Goku and Vegeta are flying over to the stated location. They are surprised that the villain is not causing havoc on the planet until they see a bunch of stray ki blasts which they are just able to barely dodge. Vegeta turns into a Super Saiyan and the blasts stop appearing. Goku and Vegeta see another wave of blasts, and with Goku activating his improved Ultra Instinct, they dodge the second wave of the blasts. They see a third wave of ki blasts from above, with them barely dodging until eventually Goku is struck in the back, knocking him unconscious and forcing Vegeta to give him a Senzu Bean. Vegeta calls out Goku for being dependent on Ultra Instinct. Goku agrees, and Goku turns into a Super Saiyan instead, spotting Granola and firing an energy wave at him. Granola instantly teleports behind the two Saiyans, dodging the energy wave, much to the latter's shock. Granola introduces himself to the Saiyan duo, explaining his race and that he knows about the Saiyans with him forming a crater with an unknown technique similar to Hakai. Vegeta tells Goku that he should fight him first as payback, with the latter agreeing. Back to the kids, 7-3 knows they are hiding something which will benefit him greatly and lets them attack him. Goten says he would like to test his new power on 7-3, to which Trunks gets pissed, but since he fought Moro not 15 minutes ago, he lets it go. Goten is now in the battle, ready to destroy 7-3, but something feels off. 7-3 is surprisingly calm at the fact he sees Goten about to pack his ass. What 7-3 doesn't know is if he is able to take the power for his own. In either case, Goten attacks 7-3 and makes a good dent on him, but 7-3 is getting a bit thrilled. Finding an opening, 7-3 grabs Goten by the neck and attempting to steal Goten's ability, which he's displaying. That's where 7-3's mistake happens. Since it's more of a potential unlock than some power, 7-3 is left confused, and Goten lands a roundhouse kick to 7-3's head and sending him to the ground. Heaters then intervene, sensing something is off. 7-3 tells them the technique isn't that at all, but raw power of some kind, and so Alec and Maki decide to bring Granola and leave Goku and Vegeta to stay confused. Granola is teleported there and is confused as to what's going on, but he sees Goten and Trunks and gets reminded of the Saiyans, so he goes to attack mindlessly. Trunks intervenes with his Metamorph potential, but Granola is a bit too powerful for him. Trunks is confused as to how can someone this powerful exist. 7-3 is still busy with Goten, with the heaters annoying both of them on the sidelines. 7-3 knows that he won't be able to hold his own for much longer, so he escapes to let Granola know of something he did learn from Goten, and instead of stealing, 7-3 touches the back of Granola's back and essentially teaches him the fusion dance. 7-3 and Granola look at each other, smirk, and then go to work fusing. Goten and Trunks are held back by Alec, knowing the other two have a plan. The two manage to pull their fusion off, and out comes a fusion of 7-3 and Granola. The new fusion immediately attacks Goten, sending him into a mountain and out of the Metamorph potential. Trunks is next, and Trunks gets ready, already knowing what's coming. However, Vegeta instant transmissions just in the nick of time and tanks the offense, getting him to become damaged quite a bit. Goku soon follows and goes to Goten, aiding him to get up. Goku and Vegeta decide to fuse as they are right now with the fusion dance. Since Vegeta doesn't know it, he has to directly copy what he sees perfectly on the first try. Trunks decides to fight the fuse 7-3 while Goku and Vegeta go fuse, as he powers up to full power. Goten is watching on, observing his father and Trunks' father fuse for the first time. Goku and Vegeta do the fusion dance with success and become Gogeta. Gogeta is an ego instinct, ready to fight against the 7-3 fusion. Their battle starts and the two seem to be on par with each other, but what they don't know is that 7-3's ability to copy abilities. So Gogeta, as very as he is, he still doesn't notice the 7-3 fusion touching his neck and copying their abilities. 7-3 fusion, now knowing of Ultra Instinct and Ultra Ego, enter both, exactly like Gogeta, which throws Gogeta off. Gogeta is now at a disadvantage, as he's now overpowered by 7-3 fusion. Goten and Trunks notice that, seeing the extent of their miscalculation. They decide to fuse one last time to defeat the enemy. Goten and Trunks perform the fusion and fuse into Gotenks. They realize they can utilize their Metamorph potential and multiply its effect tenfold. So they join in alongside Gogeta. Gogeta and Gotenks put everything into the battle as 7-3 fusion charges into the battle, now getting in some solid blows of his own. As both Gogeta and 7-3 fusion begin to tire out from their battle, Gogeta unleashes a deadly assault using his Spirit Cannon that puts 7-3 fusion down, stating that he will not be getting up again. However, much to his horror, 7-3 fusion returns to his feet and makes a beeline for Gotenks, who urgently puts up his guard to defend himself whilst closing his eyes. Upon opening them, he sees that 7-3 fusion has dropped back to base form and unfused, as both fusees collapse unconscious from burning themselves out due to the Spirit Crusher. Granola is left speechless, being very disappointed in himself, seeing what the Heaters and everyone else led him to believe. Granola, not being that fucked up from the attack, goes and kills off 7-3 for good, going for Gas next, using his eye to snipe him down and with a simple blast, killing him off too. Going for the rest of the Heaters next. Gogeta goes to stop Granola from enacting his revenge. Succeeding so, Gotenks is quite amazed at their fathers, having managed to pull off quite a technique with their first time fusing. Gogeta was about to ask a question, but unfuses as he starts talking. After Gogeta separates, Vegeta screams out to Gotenks asking what kind of power they currently have. Gotenks explains it as a final piece to their fusion puzzle, explaining it like a potential unlock. Goku is amazed, Vegeta is pissed, and Granola looks at the two boys with his mouth agape. Gotenks unfuses back to Goten and Trunks. Using combined efforts of fathers and sons, the universe is safe from tyranny and evil, at least for now. We're done with this series. Thank you for tuning in on a series and supporting it. While the polls are up for the next series, join the T23 Discord server with a vanity URL down in the description. Thank you for watching, and with that, peace out.